easy paleo, gluten, and dairy-free cooking show with me. I'm JJ Flizanes. Eating right and exercising and still not getting the results you want? Did you know there are 7 factors that create weight loss resistance? Come on over to fit2love.tv/quiz and take the quiz and find out what factor might be sabotaging you. Today's show, easy veggie soup. So why I love this recipe, why I love this dish, is because really there are so many variations of what you can do of different vegetables for flavor, for nutrients, and even when you just have vegetables that are starting to wilt or sort of go bad, rather than throwing them out, cut off the bad parts, but you can use this in a veggie soup. You're not wasting the vegetable. In fact, I have a client that I cook with, she does private cooking classes, and I consider myself the vegetable rescuer. Because every time I come into her kitchen, we just use whatever she's purchased and hasn't used and it's starting to wilt. So rather than wasting it, we just throw it into a big veggie soup, which is going to be great for digestion. It's going to be really easy on your body. So if you have anything like leaky gut or irritable bowel syndrome or digestive issues, this soup, because we're cooking it down, it is going to lose some of the enzymes, but it's going to be so nourishing for the body because it's warm and easy to digest. And it's a great way, like I said, to use your vegetables that are starting to go bad. So with that in mind, I'm going to take these 2 wilting zucchini and use them. And then I'm going to use one of my leftover yellow squash. I have a lone carrot. I've got celery that I bought when I was on the run last week and I never really opened it. And I'm looking at it going, what am I going to do with it? I'll throw it in the soup. I've got cauliflower, a nice big head of cauliflower that's been sitting in the refrigerator a little too long. And I thought, rather than make cauliflower rice, I'll just put it in the soup. Again, those cruciferous vegetables are also really great for hormones as well as their antioxidants, as well as they're great for detoxing. I even have a little part of a wilting green pepper that I'm going to use because, again, why waste it? Put it in the soup because we are going to blend this soup. I bought some organic broccoli that's going to go in the soup, and I'm going to use the leftover organic Tuscan kale just for some more dark green leafy vegetables. The one thing I love about this soup is that if you don't like eating vegetables and you'd like to add more vegetables to your life, make this soup and then eat a cup or 2 cups a day to get some more vegetables into your life. And it's especially good when you want something in the wintertime that's nice and warm and it feels like a comfort food because it's a soup. And if you don't like blended soups, you can absolutely do this chunky. But I'm going to show you the best way to make this vegetable soup that's also vegan, really creamy, without using dairy. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut up the onion. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic, and you can do fresh garlic is fine, but I'm going to use the crushed garlic. And I'm going to use a little bit of garlic olive oil, my favorite organic olive oil from Trader Joe's. I'm going to put them in the pot, and I'm going to just saute them for about 2 to 3 minutes. After they're sauteed, I'm going to chop up all my vegetables. Now, because I'm blending this, I'm going to make big chunky pieces. I'm not going to finely chop it. If you don't like blended soups, I would recommend that you do fine pieces of each of the vegetables so that way you have a nice, flavorful array of vegetables on every spoonful. But again, if you're blending this, just do nice big hunks because it's all going to cook down and we're going to blend it all together. So now that we've sauteed the onion and the garlic with the olive oil in the pot, I'm going to start adding, and you can do this all next to the stovetop. You don't have to bring it back and do all that. You can literally take everything to the stovetop, but for our filming purposes, we're going to do it right here. So I've chopped everything up in nice big pieces because, again, I'm going to blend this soup. And I'm going to put in my broccoli and my cauliflower and my carrot that just went down the sink. I'll wash that off and put that in. Carrots and zucchini. Now, the stalk of the broccoli can be used. Just cut off the outer part that's more fibrous and that's just harder to break down. So you have the inside, which is as firm as the rest of it and can be cooked a little bit easier. So you can use the whole broccoli. You don't have to throw the stem away. All right, so after I put in all my vegetables, and I've got my celery, I would just fill the pot. Fill the pot with your vegetables. Use everything that you don't want to. And actually, I need to leave room for some of my kale. Now, when this stuff starts to cook down, it'll create more room in the pot. You could add more vegetables if you want. But I'm going to add some kale. Okay. Now I'm going to take this over to the stove, and I'm going to put the stove back on, the burner back on medium. And I'm going to let that kind of cook down a little bit, and I'm going to add vegetable broth. Now you can add water, you don't have to add any special broth. And if you want more of a meaty flavor because you eat meat, and that's fine, you can add chicken broth or beef broth. But if you want it to be vegan and completely vegetable, you can either just add water or add vegetable broth and water. You're going to fill it up only to right at the edge of the vegetables, not above it. When you go above it, it's going to be too watery. I like my soups a little thicker than thinner, and because the vegetables have a lot of water in them, if you fill up too much with water, it's going to be really, really thin. So and you can always cook it down to make it a little thicker, it's just going to take longer. So only fill up the water and the broth right to the level of the vegetables, not above it. Now my secret ingredient to make it creamy and vegan is to use raw cashews. So you're gonna put in, and again, it's gonna depend on how much you're making. I'm making a pretty big pot. I'm probably gonna use half of this bag of raw cashews. I'm gonna cook that with my soup so everything softens up really nicely. So when I use my Cuisinart blending stick, everything blends together just perfectly. So once you're done cooking down your vegetables, it's gonna take about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit more depending on what kind of vegetables you have. The harder they are, the longer it'll take to cook down. But on about medium for about 30 minutes, and once they're nice and soft, turn the burner off and then use your blending stick, whatever brand you use. I have a Cuisinart Smart Stick. And then you're gonna blend the vegetables. Once you're done blending your soup to the consistency that you like it, if you're going to use the cashews, I would recommend just blending it really, really fine so everything's nice and smooth and there's no chunks in there. And then you're going to wait till it cools down a little bit and spice it to taste. I'm going to use high mineral sea salt, black pepper, a little bit of turmeric. I might use a dash of cayenne pepper. I might even use a little bit of thyme and lemon in this. So really, you're gonna play around with your spices. The kinds of vegetables that are in there are also gonna dictate what spices would be best with that. Sometimes I like to make a broccoli cheese soup with the non-dairy cheese and just broccoli. So again, you can do any kind of combination. Use the vegetables that are starting to wilt and go bad. Use the leftover spinach and the kale and the Swiss chard and the things that you don't really wanna eat. You can make it into a soup. Did you enjoy today's show? Can't wait for next week for more? Want more videos right now? Come on over to fittolove.tv and check out our Tasty Tuesdays.